Hello all my Kenvians and welcome to a brand new episode of Discovering Steven Universe. Today's episode that I'm going to be watching is Super Watermelon Island, and like I said at the end of the previous episode, I'm guessing that this episode is going to be sort of a continuation of the Watermelon Stevens, or at least we're going to see at least one of the Watermelon Stevens again. Again, that's just my assumption, but since they specifically mention watermelon, it seems like the most likely situation, unless they just, completely go a different direction with it, which is entirely possible with this show. But let's begin with Super Watermelon Island and begin the reaction. And go. Oh, well, that answers my question. It's a Watermelon Steven. The watermelon dog? Oh, okay. Oh no. Oh jeez.
Wait, what do I do now? Don't just leave me here.
Poor Paratot. Oh jeez. Oh, that's awesome. This is bizarre, to say the least.
Don't forget about me.
Nice! Holy crap!
Need you, Steven. We'll be fine.
Oh.
You can do this. We believe in you. You got this, dude. You know the drill. Be careful, Steven. Watch each other's backs. Steven?
Oh my god, that's how you end an episode? That's how you end the freaking episode? I mean, no freaking pressure! Oh my god, okay, real quick, just so I can gather my thoughts on this, I'll do a quick cut and I'll be right back. No, I haven't done that in a while, but I really need to in this one. Okay, so time for the review portion of the video. Again, I apologize for doing the cut there, but I really had to gather my thoughts on a few things. Really just kind of write down my thoughts because I already knew what I was going to say. I did a lot of things to think. But anyway, let's start off as always with my favorite parts of this episode. Starting with the fact that, I was right. We do get to see Watermelon Steven again, or Watermelon Stevens, and they have this entire weird little society, which was really interesting. And one thing that it kind of grew on me as the episode went on, still find it kind of weird, the fact that there are other watermelon creatures. They have a horse, they have chickens, they have a dog. The dog thing still weirds me out for some reason. I don't know why, but it does. So yeah, that's the first favorite part. My next favorite part was getting to see Alexandrite again, and just, between Alexandrite and Malachite, we basically got a big, just giant monster battle that you see in like some of those big sci-fi, especially the Japanese movies. Sort of the, what was it, Ultraman, I think? Something like that. That was just so awesome! Seeing Alexandrite and Malachite go at it, and it was just, such a cool fight sequence. That was one of the best fight sequences that we've gotten in this show in a while. Just absolutely loved it. And my third favorite part of this episode, again, as weird as it was to me, the little watermelon army and just how all that was formed. I thought that was really... At first I thought it was just going to be as simple as like Malachite just wipes them all out, but clearly because Jasper is overconfident, she didn't think that they would be able to knock her down, but yeah, they actually ended up, you know, being able to knock her down to the ground long enough to distract her and allow Alexandrite to come out and then destroy her, which was awesome. So yeah, those were my favorite parts of this episode. Very few, but I feel like as a whole they really summed up everything. Now, for the first time in a while, I do actually have an annoyance with this episode. And it's rather minor, and maybe it can be explained away rather easily, but it bothered me. And my annoyance is this. Why did the Watermelon Stevens have a ceremony? Like a full-on ceremony for what watermelon should be sacrificed to Malachite? Because, I mean, unless Malachite has been there for a while, which to the best of my knowledge, she was being held underwater. So unless this was a fairly frequent thing, I don't understand how they actually had this ceremony for sacrificing a certain watermelon to Malachite. And it doesn't add up for me. I feel like it's kind of a big plot hole there. Again, maybe it can be explained away by, you know, Malachite has been held underwater for the most part, but she does emerge from time to time, maybe? I don't know. But just overall, that was a rather confusing annoyance for me, personally. But then moving on from there, my moment of terror from this episode, just the reveal of Malachite, because I, honest to God, was not expecting it. I didn't know what to expect at first when, you know, they took the Watermelon Steven over to the cliff and had, like, you know, painted the star on his chest and everything. But when Malachite emerged, I was taken aback, honestly. I mean, I figured that we would see them again eventually, but I just did not expect her to appear like that, and it led to a phenomenal freaking episode, in my opinion. So yeah, those are my favorites, annoyances, and moment of terror. Moving on from there, for track of the episode, the battle music that was playing during the fight between Alexandrite and Malachite. Not so much maybe when the Watermelon Army came in, but otherwise just all the battle music was just phenomenal, and it really had me pulled in. So yeah, that was really well done music in my opinion. Now, as for a quote of the episode, I'm not sure if I got the quote down exactly right, but possibly paraphrasing Peridot here when she says, "Why don't you just disobey them? Isn't that kind of your guys' thing?" I found that to be kind of, it was funny, and it was, I mean, not entirely wrong, you know. I mean, obviously there's reasons why Steven has to obey the crystal gems from time to time, but the fact that he did disobey that time, actually save them, was a good thing. But it's just that logic, it works a lot for what the crystal gems kind of stand for, as far as, you know, standing up to Homeworld and all that. And then the next quote of the episode, truly one of the most magnificent lines or monologues that I've seen in a long time. Watermelon Steven's speech to the other watermelons. I'm sorry. Oh, it was just so silly and adorable. I just couldn't help myself. I feel like in some strange way that has to be the quote of the episode. And then I didn't write this one down, but I feel like it deserves at the very least an honorable mention. But when Alexandrite shoots the arrow at Malachite and says, "I think you two should spend some time apart." That was just that was a perfect one-liner, just excellently done. It was a perfect cap to this monster fight that we had experienced. I just loved it. So yeah, definitely big honorable mention there for me. So yeah, other than that, any theories I have going forward? Oh no, wait, before my theory, a question. And it's this, which I found rather interesting. They held on to Lapis, but when the cluster, I guess, was causing the earthquakes and everything, well, what happened to Jasper exactly? Like, I assume Jasper will be back, but like, has Jasper fallen sort of back into the ocean, or has Jasper maybe fallen into part of the Earth's core, perhaps? When the drill happens, are they going to run into Jasper? I mean, that would be bizarre. But, I mean, I've been surprised by the show many times before, so it's hard to say what could happen. And other than my question, my theory, and this is something that, you know, will happen probably an episode or two from now, but right now, Lapis is knocked out. I mean, she's clearly exhausted from everything that's been happening. But whenever she does wake up, I feel like she's going to run away again. Like, she'll probably return at some point, especially since she has a connection to Steven. But other than that, I feel like that one of the first things that Lapis will do will be to run away, to get away from the crystal gems and any other gems, because they really, other than Steven, bring her nothing but pain. Or at least that's how it's perceived by her. So yeah, that's going to be my assumption. Whether it's right or wrong, don't know, but only one way to find out. It is a theory after all. Now, as for my overall thoughts on this episode, I loved it. I loved it, I loved it, I loved it. It moved the story along as far as like finding out what happened with Malachite. We found out, you know, what happened to the Watermelon Stevens, as weird as that was. It's moved things along. Again, one of the best fight scenes we've probably ever gotten on the show, or at least in quite a long time. And we're moving on to the drill, clearly, because the cluster is starting to emerge, and I mean, they're going to be going down, so I guess in this next episode it's going to be just Peridot and Steven. And I'm really excited to see what happens, especially the way it ended with just that fade out of like Steven seeing them. That was definitely one of the more creative ways of them using that that transition there at the end. I really like the way they did that. So yeah, really like this episode overall, despite the fact that it did have, you know, one annoyance, which I haven't had for the most part in previous episodes. But yeah, it was just really, really good. And ready for next time, because the next episode is going to be Gem Drill, which obviously means that the drill is going to happen, that they're going to go into the Earth's core, and we might actually get to see the cluster. I'm really excited to find out what's going to happen. So as always, everyone, I would really want to hear your thoughts on this episode, some of your own favorites, annoyances, moments of terror, if you had any other than mine. Your thoughts on what I had to say in this episode too, and you know, of course, so on and so forth with quotes and tracks, anything you have to say about the episode in general. And before I finish up, just want to say, as I've been mentioning recently, if you want to check out episodes like this and others ahead of time, anywhere from a few days to a few weeks before they go public to you know, everyone on YouTube, you can go over to patreon.com/PapaKennMedia, include a link in the description down below and at the end of this video, and for as little as $1 a month, you can get access to those videos. Again, episodes of Discovering Steven Universe, Discovering Doctor Who, Discovering Classic Who, and other shows I'll be putting out ahead of time before they go public to the public. Should have worded that better. But regardless, if that interests you at all, please do check it out. I would appreciate it. But until next time, everyone, for Gem Drill, I am Papa Ken, and I will see you on the next episode of Discovering Steven Universe.